Today, we're going to learn from the #1 junior player in all of the UK, FIDE Master Shreyas Royal. Will he be a FIDE Master forever? Is the sky blue? Wait a minute, I got that wrong. The sky is going to be blue when you watch this. He may not be an FM when you watch this, but in any case, on his road to Grandmaster, he's left us some really nice tactics that we're going to learn from today, and we're even going to see which Chess Kid video he used to learn these tactics. Or maybe I made the videos after watching his tactics? No, let's not get into the timeline. Let's just celebrate the moves. White to move here. What move did Shreyas use to blow open this game? Did you find bishop takes a6? Because Shreyas did. Now, he's actually using a couple of different ideas. One, from the recent video, attacking the hook pawn, and also he is removing the blockade. That's right. It's a breakthrough tactic. He's breaking through because after the pawn takes, he grabs the second pawn. You could almost say the pawn on b7 was overworked, so kind of a lot of ideas in play here, right? He already has 2 pawns for the piece, and it's really hard to guard the a6 pawn because if your rook goes sideways, he can actually trap the rook by moving the pawn forward to b7. He has other good moves too, but that's certainly one of them. So in the actual game, Black decided to play rook to b7 to try to institute a blockade on this pawn, but then rook takes a6. It's already 3 pawns for the piece. And the general rule in chess is the closer you get to the endgame, the more valuable the 3 pawns becomes, because obviously their chance of promotion goes up. Now, Black tried this move knight b8. You could think of it like a fork. And you might think, well, Shreyas is just going to trade knights and try to slowly advance those pawns. That's certainly one idea, but then there's a Chess Kid video on exchange sacrifices. Shreyas does not move his rook, he does not move his knight, he plays the brilliant move pawn to b5, keeping both of those pieces exactly where they are. And Black has already lost, but if Black were to try to take one of these pieces, let's just predict the rook. Shreyas takes back. This rook is already running out of places to go. It can try to go to the square d7, and now there's so many winning moves, but simple as just move pawn to b7, and those pawns are going downtown. Shreyas would easily win this game. In fact, he did go on to win the game rather quickly. Here is our second position from the FIDE Master from across the pond. He is white in this game, and he's actually already up the exchange, but there's a couple of menacing black pawns coming down the board. Those are connected passers. Those can be a problem. What idea did Shreyas play in this position to make sure he got the victory? Once again, Shreyas found the best move. There were a couple of moves to win, but none better than his. Rook takes c4. This uses a couple of different Chess Kid ideas. One is pin. We can think of this pawn as pinned because it opens up the diagonal to the bishops eyeballing each other. But another idea, in fact, I would say the main idea, is removing the blockader. Right now, only this bishop is stopping the very strong passed pawn by white from going to the other side. Well, of course, the queen's in the way, but Shreyas controls his own queen. Now, Black did not take the rook. If he plays any other move, though, there's no more connected passers. So let's just assume that Black were to take the rook. Now, you can actually take the bishop with either piece, but taking with the queen is slightly better. And in this position, White is just threatening to trade queens, take, and then push the pawn. And he's got multiple defenders of the a8 square. That's one way White can win. Now, if Black tries, let's say, trade queens to put White's bishop in the way. Now, when I originally put my eyeballs on this position, I thought that my friend from across the pond was in trouble. These black pawns are very close to motoring down the board. But actually, it's Black who has the problems because bishop to d5 is a huge threat. Not only do you get out of the way of your own pawn, but you also pin the rook. You're probably going to win it with check, and you fork the rook and this pawn. And don't forget, Chess Kids, when you win one of the 2 connected passers, for example, the c4 pawn, you reduce their strength by more than 50%. I would say you reduce it quite a lot. I don't have a number for you, but just trust me on this one. So Black pretty much has to avoid bishop to d5. We could give Black any old move, like maybe a rook back or something, but it's very simple. We just play bishop check, getting out of the way with tempo. King moves somewhere, pawn moves, and actually it's not a race at all. You can see how much faster the white pawn is compared to the 2 black pawns, and of course, Shreyas would go on to win. Okay, I've saved my hardest one for the end. Let's see if you have enough energy to solve it. Here we give Shreyas the black pieces, and I'm sure you're noticing how this white king wishes he had the blanket in front of him. But today, he's sleeping out in the cold. He does not have enough pawns to keep him warm. But how does Shreyas break through? Again, there's a couple of winning moves, but I want you to find the best one because that's the hallmark of a chess master. Well, if you're back, you might have found the brilliant tactical combination. Bishop takes d4. Now, what chess kid idea is Shreyas using here? Clearance. It turns out both of his rooks need that bishop to be gone. For example, this rook, when it comes to c6, it wants that bishop out of the way to be able to come across and try to checkmate the king. Or the other rook needs the d6 square exactly for the bishop to be out of the way. Either way, these rooks are coming over and checkmating the king. Now, white doesn't have much better than to just capture it. It also prevents this rook from coming up to c6. But again, Shreyas has a backup rook to d6. Obviously, white cannot allow rook to g6, which would be mate, so white tries this defense. And Shreyas had to take a long time before sacrificing the piece because he had to make sure, when you give your opponent a free move like he just did, that there wasn't some sort of piece that can come over to defend. Rook to d3 looks like it gets the job done, but watch the calculation from Shreyas. He saw all of this before sacrificing his bishop. He starts with the most forcing move. White pretty much has to block with the rook. He takes. Not hard to calculate when your opponent only has one legal move. He takes the pawn. All of this happened in the game. And now, after the king goes to h1, you might think he's going to bring his other rook up and over, but he gives a little check first. And then when the king moves over, then he plays rook c3. That is the best way for the rook to come up and over. Rook to g3 is going to be really bad for white. For example, if we just give white some random move, I have no idea which one he'd pick, but let's just say that white plays knight a6, because I have to make it black's turn. Then we're going to have rook to g3 check. The king is going to move to f2, and then rook to g2 check, and then king to e1. And then a move like queen to e3 leads to mate. Was there a faster mate? I don't know. Maybe this is one of those times where I'm going to challenge you chess kids to see if Funmaster Mike made a mistake. I found a quick mate. If there's a quicker one, though, I'm sure you'll email us to let us know. Now, we need to go back. There's no way on earth that white would play knight to a6. Instead, white played the move queen takes d4. That takes away a lot of those e3 checks that I just showed you. But after queen takes d4, Shreyas still wins with queen to g3 check, king to h1, and now we almost have clearance again. The rook wants to use g3 in a way, so Shreyas played queen to h4, and in this position, finally, white resigned because the rook is going to come over. I'm not sure if there's a mate, but I can at least show you how Shreyas would win a queen. For example, the king moves, the rook comes and uses that square that the queen just had, king goes to f2, and then a very simple discovered check, rook to d3, discovered check, winning the queen, and there we go. That was a long one. That's why we save it to the end. Now, if you've made it this far, you're probably hungry for more Shreyas royal tactics, and we've got some in the upcoming Chess Kid lesson. Good luck on your path to Grandmaster, Shreyas. We're all pulling for you.